All right, so we're diving into the IPL today. And I think when most people think about the IPL, they think about those big hits, those incredible catches, those, nail-biting finishes.
Excitement, yeah.
But what's interesting is that the IPL didn't just, like, magically appear. It really kind of exploded onto the scene right after India won that T20 World Cup back in 2007. There was this real sense that something special was happening, and this idea of mixing, like, really exciting cricket with this big entertainment factor, all while making it a really solid business venture. There was a potent combination.
Yeah, a very deliberate kind of recipe for success, right?
Right.
And for this deep dive, we're not just going to rehash the cricket matches themselves. We've actually gone a bit deeper, gathering all sorts of perspectives on the wider impact of the IPL, like how it's touched on Indian society, how it's become part of the culture, not just the sport.
Yeah, I think that's what's so fascinating about the IPL. It's not just a sporting league. It's like this cultural force that's really woven itself into the fabric of India and even, spilled over into global cricket as well. And that's what we're going to explore today, how it's transformed the way people experience cricket, both on and off the field.
Exactly. So if you're listening, we're not just doing a straight cricket history lesson here. We're digging into the social and cultural shifts that the IPL has brought about. It's like understanding how this league, which started in 2008, became this major cultural phenomenon, going way beyond just the boundaries of the cricket pitch.
Right. And the mission here really is to look closely at all these different viewpoints we've gathered and pick out the most important, the most significant changes that the IPL has triggered. We want you to walk away, really understanding just how multifaceted this league is.
Yeah, it's more than just a game. It's an institution.
Okay. Now, to understand the IPL's impact, we have to go back a bit, right? Before 2008, the cricket scene in India was pretty different.
Oh, totally. You had Test cricket, which was like the grand old format, almost sacred. And then, of course, you had the one-day internationals, ODIs, which were hugely popular.
Yeah.
But there was a sense that something was missing. Like people wanted something faster, something more, I don't know, immediate with more thrills.
Right. More instant gratification.
And then, boom, India wins that 2007 T20 World Cup. It was a turning point. It wasn't just about winning. It showed everyone that this shorter format, this T20, it had this incredible energy, this potential to really shake things up.
And it showed off a new generation of players who were perfect for this style of cricket.
Absolutely. And I think that's where Lalit Modi really saw the opportunity. He had this vision, right, inspired by these big global leagues like the English Premier League and the NBA.
Like he saw what they were doing and thought, we can do that with cricket.
Exactly. But he wasn't just thinking about cricket teams. He was thinking about franchises, these independent businesses built around a team.
So it was cricket, but with this whole business entrepreneurial layer to it.
Yeah. And that was a radical shift at the time. It wasn't just the BCCI, the cricket board, running a tournament. It was about empowering private owners to build these teams into these kind of like mini empires.
And then almost immediately, you get this incredible fusion.
Yeah.
Cricket and Bollywood. Like suddenly the worlds of sports and entertainment just collided.
And that was no accident. It was a very deliberate move. I mean, you had these huge Bollywood stars coming in as team owners, people like Shah Rukh Khan, Preeti Zinta. They brought this whole other level of glamour and storytelling to the game.
They understood how to capture the imagination to create a spectacle.
Yeah.
And that changed the whole vibe of going to a cricket match.
Yeah, it was like you weren't just going to watch a game. You were going to this massive event. You had the fireworks, the music, the dancing. It was an experience.
A spectacle, a carnival almost.
Yeah, and I think that's what really broadened the appeal. Suddenly, people who weren't hardcore cricket fans were drawn in by the entertainment, the buzz, the celebrities.
But it wasn't just about the surface level excitement. The IPL also really tapped into something much deeper, this strong sense of regional pride by creating teams that represented specific cities.
And that was brilliant, right? Because now you weren't just supporting a national team, you were supporting your city, your community.
And it created this incredibly passionate rivalry.
Yeah, and you saw it everywhere, from the chants in the stadiums to the team colors people were wearing, teams like the Chennai Super Kings, the Mumbai Indians. They became symbols of these cities, like extensions of their identity.
Yeah, you had these local traditions being incorporated into the team anthems, the celebrations. It was like each team had its own distinct flavor, reflecting the culture of its city.
And what's really interesting is that this even helped to bridge some divides in India. In a country with so much diversity, so many different languages, religions, cultures.
Cricket became this common ground.
Yeah, for a few hours, everyone was united in their support for their team, regardless of their background.
It was a shared experience, something something everyone could connect with.
Exactly. And then you add another layer, international players. And suddenly, the IPL wasn't just an Indian league anymore. It became this global melting pot of cricket talent.
It was like the best players from all over the world were coming together to play in this, like, super league.
Yeah, you had players from Australia, South Africa, the West Indies, all playing alongside Indian stars. And that created this amazing exchange of ideas, of styles, of techniques.
You know, it raised the overall level of competition, and it really fostered a sense of, like, global camaraderie within the sport.
And I think that had an influence beyond the IPL itself. It's like, these players went back to their national teams with new ideas, new perspectives on the game.
And for young Indian cricketers, especially those from, smaller towns and villages,
Yeah.
the IPL became this dream, this symbol of possibility.
It was like you could be scouted, you could get a big IPL contract, and your life could change overnight.
We've seen those stories play out, haven't we? Like Jasprit Bumrah going from relative obscurity to being a global superstar.
It's so inspiring, and it gave hope to so many young players. It's like you didn't have to come from a big city or a wealthy family. If you had the talent, the IPL could be your ticket.
Now, when it comes to women's cricket, the IPL initially faced some criticism for not doing enough to promote the women's game.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point. There was definitely a focus on the men's league in those early years. But I also think that the success of the IPL helped to create this momentum, this interest that eventually led to the creation of the Women's Premier League, the WPL.
So in a way, the IPL kind of paved the way, even if indirectly.
Right. And we've also seen women becoming more and more prominent in the IPL itself as fans, as commentators, even as team owners. So it's definitely evolving.
And the whole match day experience, it's not just about watching cricket anymore. It's become this huge festival.
Yeah, it's like going to a carnival. You've got the fireworks, the cheerleaders, the music, the food, the parties. It's a whole day or even a whole night of entertainment.
Families go, tourists go. It's this massive social gathering.
It's an experience for sure.
But of course, with all the success, all this money coming in, there were concerns about the commercialization of the game. Was it becoming too much about entertainment, about money, and losing its soul?
I think that's a really interesting debate. On the one hand, you had the traditionalists who felt that the IPL was moving away from the pure spirit of cricket.
Like they felt that it was becoming too much of a spectacle, a show.
And they worried that the focus on entertainment was diluting the game itself.
Right.
But then you had the other side, the people who saw this as a positive evolution, a way of modernizing cricket, making it relevant to a new generation.
They saw it as a way of bringing in new fans, new investment, and ultimately growing the game.
Exactly. And it's undeniable that the IPL's commercial success had a huge impact. The sponsorship deals, the broadcasting rights, they brought in so much money, which, trickled down to the players, the infrastructure, the grassroots level.
It changed the economics of the game completely.
It did. And then, of course, you have the digital revolution, and the IPL was perfectly positioned to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it was like they were in the right place at the right time.
The rise of streaming platforms, social media, all of that created these new ways for fans to connect with the IPL, to follow the action, to engage with each other.
It made it accessible to a global audience.
It did. And you also had the rise of fantasy leagues, which brought in this whole other level of engagement. Suddenly, everyone was a selector, a strategist.
It was like everyone had their own team, their own stakes in the game.
Exactly. And that really helped to create a deeper connection between the fans and the IPL.
Now, strategically, the IPL also really pushed the boundaries of T20 cricket. It became this laboratory for tactical innovation.
Yeah, the fast-paced nature of T20 meant that teams had to be really creative, really adaptable.
They had to think outside the box, come up with new ways to score runs, to take wickets.
We saw the rise of power plays, pinch hitters, death bowling. These all became key parts of the T20 game, and they were refined in the IPL crucible.
And the use of data analysis, that really exploded.
Oh, absolutely. Teams were crunching numbers, looking for any edge they could get.
And then, of course, you had these brilliant captains like MS Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, who were masters of tactics.
They could read the game, make those split-second decisions that often made the difference between winning and losing.
And even the rules of the game evolved. Things like the impact player, which really added another layer of strategy.
So the IPL wasn't just entertaining, it was also really pushing the tactical side of cricket forward.
But as we've been saying, the impact of the IPL goes way beyond just the cricket field. It's had a ripple effect throughout Indian society.
And one of the biggest impacts has been on the development of young talent. The IPL created this pathway for young cricketers, especially from rural areas, to make a name for themselves.
You think about someone like Jasprit Bumrah again, or Hardik Pandya. They wouldn't have had the same opportunities without the IPL.
It gave them a platform to showcase their skills, to learn from the best, and to earn a good living.
And that, in turn, inspired countless other young players.
Exactly. And it led to the growth of academies, coaching centers all over India. The IPL created this whole ecosystem for nurturing talent.
And economically, it's been a huge boon, hasn't it? It's created jobs, boosted tourism, brought in investment.
Definitely. It's been a major driver of economic activity in many parts of India.
Now, it's important to acknowledge that the IPL hasn't been without its controversies. We can't ignore things like the spot-fixing scandal in 2013.
That was a dark chapter, for sure. It shook the league, damaged its reputation.
But what's interesting is that the IPL showed resilience. It bounced back, implemented stricter rules, and regained the trust of the fans.
I think that speaks to the strength of the league, its ability to adapt and overcome challenges.
And alongside those lows, there have been so many incredible highs, those unforgettable moments on the field.
Oh yeah, those last ball finishes, those amazing centuries, those incredible catches, those are the things that stay with you that make the IPL so special.
So when we look back at the IPL's journey, it's clear that it's become much more than just a cricket league. It's a cultural phenomenon, a national institution.
Absolutely. It's woven itself into the fabric of Indian society.
And it's still evolving. There's talk of expanding globally, of new formats, of even more innovation. The future of the IPL is really exciting.
I think it has the potential to keep growing, to keep influencing the game of cricket and the culture around it.
So to recap what we've talked about today, the IPL has done so much more than just provide entertainment. It's blended sport and entertainment in a way that's never been seen before. It's tapped into this deep sense of regional pride. It's brought people together. It's created opportunities for young players. It's pushed the boundaries of cricket strategically, and it's had a huge economic impact.
It's really a remarkable story, and it makes you wonder, what does the success of the IPL tell us about the world we live in? This world where sport, entertainment, and national identity are all intertwined.
It's a question worth thinking about. As the IPL continues to grow, what other parts of society and culture will it touch? What kind of impact will it have on a global scale?
It's something to keep an eye on, for sure.
It's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it for our deep dive into the IPL. Thanks for listening.